Hi, everybody. Welcome to your Career Cheat Sheet, a series focused on helping students build a career with advice from everyone who's been through it all before. We're here to help make your early career moves less daunting. I'm Karen Ngo, a Senior CEO Communications Manager here at Microsoft, and my personal philosophy is growing 1% every day through finding inspiration to share with the world. I joined Microsoft back in 2020 as part of the Aspire program, which is for new grads and those who are early in career. And let's just say I've learned a lot since then that I'd love to share with you today. I'm a huge believer in building a personal brand because it's helped open up so many doors in my career. In the first episode, we talked about what personal branding is, how to think about your career narrative, and what the career walking deck can do for you. Now, it's time to build one out. For this episode, I'll walk you through how to use Copilot and PowerPoint to build a career walking deck that you can use in coffee chats and job interviews. Let's jump in. The first step is going to be gathering all of your career documents like your resume, your CV, LinkedIn profile, and cover letters. Also, fun fact, you can actually export your entire LinkedIn profile into a PDF. So that's what I'm going to do right now because it's really quick and easy. So first, just navigate to your profile, then click on the ellipses, click Save to PDF. And there you go, you have your LinkedIn profile in your downloads. Now we're going to go over to copilot.microsoft.com to help us put our one-pager together. So here I've got Copilot, and this is where I'm going to go to Copilot Tasks and ask it to build a deck for me. So first we're going to upload any of our career documents. So I'm just going to do my LinkedIn profile because that is easiest. Now, this is where prompting is so important. You can't just say, build a career walking deck and expect it to give you something good because you're going to get something pretty generic. So I'm going to try giving you a specific prompt that shares your goal, context, audience, and expectations, and sources. So here's the prompt that I'm pasting into Copilot Tasks. You are a designer that specializes in building mini presentations that are visually compelling and easy to follow. Develop a career walking deck one-pager based on my attached documents that helps me introduce myself in job interviews and coffee chats. The first slide should have placeholders for my headshot, a title line, email address, and link to my LinkedIn profile. The second slide should be a visually compelling one-pager of my background, skills, goals, achievements, and interests, since I'll be using this to answer, tell me about yourself. I also want a timeline slide that showcases my career journey in a visual way and explains my key experiences, projects, and impacts that are most relevant to the job posting. The final slide should be similar to the first slide, saying thank you. And since I'm interviewing for a job at Microsoft, please use Microsoft brand colors. Make sure that the slide theme is consistent and font size is large enough to read when presenting my screen. Tailor it to a recruiter or hiring manager who's interviewing me for this job posting. And this is actually where you'd paste in your job posting. And then you just wait for Copilot to do its thing. You can see it develop a plan of what to do and then start building out any slides on the right pane. So putting this prompt together was not that easy because I really had to think about what is the outcome that I really want from Copilot. If I gave it vague instructions, it would sometimes give me something that was a little bit generic. And so for me, knowing that I want to have a career walking deck that is very specific to my personal brand, I really had to think about what are the things I want it to deliver, what do I want it to look like, and give it those guiding instructions. Oftentimes, they say that working with Copilot is like working with an intern or a buddy where you need to give some clear directions so that it knows what to go and do. So I can scroll through and check out each slide and see if there's anything that I want to change. And if I do want to change something, I'll prompt Copilot on the left side and it'll actually go in and make the update for me. So for example, let's say that on the About Me slide, I think it's a little bit too bland. So what I'm going to do is click on this AI edits, and I'm going to click on polish content. So now it's going to take a look at my LinkedIn profile again, and it's going to look at making my content a little bit better and more interesting. The AI edits button is actually really handy if you want to just do something quick and easy. But if you do have more instructions and guidance on what you want to do, you can actually go ahead and put it directly in the Copilot chat. All right. So another edit that I want to do is I want to add some photo placeholders. So I'm going to come over to slide 2 and I'm going to ask Copilot, please add some placeholders for me to add photos. I also want to include my personal philosophy, growing 1% every day. Let's see what it does. And while it's doing that, I can also take a look at my other slides and see how I like them. Here we've got the career journey slide, which kind of gives you a breakdown of my different experiences. And it's more of a visual evolution of your resume. So it kind of takes all of your different background and experiences and puts it into a more visual format. And this is a really great way to actually walk through your career journey in a more visual way instead of just bringing out your resume. All right, so now we've got my personal philosophy in there, and we've got some placeholders for me to drop in my photos later. So I'm feeling pretty good about my About Me slide. Let's come down to my career journey slide and see how I like that. So I like the way that it put my experience on there, a different timeline, so there's a flow of events. And even the next chapter, it's giving a hint to the recruiter or hiring manager that, hey, I'm going to be in this role next. And I really like that. It's pretty brave. And then the last slide here we've got is the thank you. It's got a link to my LinkedIn profile, my website, and my email, which is awesome. So after a while, you kind of just go back and forth. And if you have any other questions or other directions for it, you can just put it in the chats. So now it's time to download this slide deck. So I'm going to click on Share and Download to PowerPoint. From there, it's going to create a copy for me to download onto my desktop. And then I can quickly open that up in PowerPoint. So now we have the career walking deck in PowerPoint where we can upload our photos and make edits directly. So here for the headshot, I'm going to go ahead and add in my headshot. Just quickly crop that to the shape. And we just drop it in. So I love how there's already a placeholder for me to put it in, and it just makes everything so much easier. Now coming to this slide, there's a few more areas for me to add photos. So I'm going to do that right now. So this first photo here is from my virtual Start Strong, which was an Aspire conference that I attended back when I first joined Microsoft. And this was during the pandemic, so everything was remote. But it was just so cool to be in a room with all my fellow Aspires who were other new grads and really try to understand what it was like to join Microsoft at such an interesting time in the company and in the world. So this next photo here is when I was in the hackathon back in 2020, and I was, again, meeting people from across the company trying to build a solution that helped put together newsletters. And I just remember meeting so many cool and creative people trying to build a technical solution, and that was just a lot of fun, especially when we were in the pandemic. Oh, and this last photo here is when I was in Microsoft Ignite, and that was my first time in San Francisco. So adding photos to your deck actually makes it a lot more visually compelling. So for me, the reason why I want to add photos of myself and the teams that I've been on is because it helps the hiring manager see that I'm very social and I love to work with people and I love to collaborate and I love to connect. And these are different ways that you can kind of signal to your recruiter or hiring manager that you are a people person and you just love being on great teams. So there we've got some photos. Another thing that I would point out is usually when it comes to your career walking deck, you want to make sure that your font is big enough. So in hindsight, I could have asked Copilot to increase the font size of all of my slides before I exported it, but that's something that I learned for next time. So as you are going through all of your slides, it's always important to proofread everything and make sure that it's accurate because you do not want to misrepresent any of your skills or experiences. I'll just quickly add my headshot to the last slide here. And there you have it. Your first career walking deck is ready to share. So remember, this is a living document that you can update as you grow throughout your career. For me personally, I like to add my kudos, my projects, team photos, and career development plans so that I can bring it up in future conversations with my mentors, my managers, and other people in my career. So now that you have a complete career walking deck, how are you going to use it? In the next episode, we'll walk you through how you can use it in coffee chats, job interviews, and more. So we'll see you next time on the Career Cheat Sheet.